Hey guys, Logan and Chris coming at you with episode 3 of Lessons with LeBlond. We'd like to thank everyone for tuning in to the last 2 episodes and having to sit through us yapping away. but, just wanted to reiterate if you guys have any questions or comments on the episode, please feel free to leave them. You can also give us a call at 513-943-0099 and ask for Chris or Logan. Or you could always just submit a web request at LeBlondUSA.com. We have a notes field where you can just leave whatever your question is, and we will reach back out to you guys. But anyways, we'll get into what we're going to be discussing today. So for the machine side of things, we're going to be focusing in on the precision high-speed lineup of new lathes. And then Chris, for the lesson of the day, is going to be focusing on slopping the apron. So I'm going to jump right into it and talk about that lineup. I'm going to there's going to be a banner on the bottom of your screen where you can type in that URL to get more info on this particular lineup of machines. So the precision high-speed lineup includes the RKL 1300, 1500, 1700, and 1900 lathes. The 15, 17, and 19, those are offered in a 40-inch and a 60-inch center distance. The RKL 1300 is offered in a 32, a 40, and a 60-inch center distance. All 4 machines are offered in a geared head and electronic variable speed model. Where they differ, we'll kind of talk through a few highlights. So the RKL 1300 has a 14-inch swing over bed, 10-inch bed width, 2-inch spindle bore, 5 horsepower motor. You get into the 1500, you get a bigger swing, so you're going to have a 16-inch swing over bed. Bed width is still the same, 10 inches. Spindle bore is still the same, 2 inches. But you are going to get a larger motor on that. You get a 7.5 horsepower motor. Then when you get into the 17 and 19, you're starting to get into heavier machines at that point, really. The 17 features a 17-inch swing over bed, 3-inch spindle bore, a 12-inch bed width, and a 7.5 horsepower motor, just like the 1500. And then the 1900 is going to feature a 20-inch swing over bed, the 12-inch bed width like the 17, 3-inch spindle bore again, and a 7.5 horsepower motor. So those are the 4 machines that are a part of that precision high-speed lineup. Again, if you want to learn more about any of those, you can go to the website shown at the banner at the bottom of your screen there. But I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Chris, and he's going to go over the lesson of the day.
Hey guys, first of all, before we get started on the lesson of the day, sitting here looking at myself in the camera, does it look like one ear is bigger than the other? I feel like I have to address that. It's just really weird to me, or I kind of look like an elf. The way they point out. Next time I'll have my makeup artist tape them back a little bit. But hey, enough about me. So we're going to talk about some slop in your apron. And what's driving the apron is, your rack and pinion and a large beveled gear. And things that commonly happen that we see with that. So I have the rack and pinion here. Let me get it together here and show you how this all works. And if you can see, I'll try to get a little bit closer. You can see there's a nice crisp gears. These are brand new. So what happens over time, just slide them in and out. It's not like the servo shift where it's going to rock back and forth and line these gears up. And you're not going to break the teeth, but what you're going to do is they're going to start to mash and get kind of flat. And so as it's spinning, when you come to that flat spot, if it's just in, a couple of teeth, it's going to start pulling and putting some tension, lifting up. And what that does over time, the housing on the casting for the apron is going to get wallered out. So you're going to get kind of slop up and down over time. And if that's the case, you want to try to catch it beforehand, or you're going to have to send your apron in to be bored and bushed. If you kind of check it regularly, because what commonly you don't get a lot of oil back here keeping this stuff well lubricated. So that's just metal to metal inside that housing that's going to wear it out. So typically, checking these gears probably once every other year is a good thing to do. If you're changing the oil in the apron, you don't have to always drop the apron, but if you got the time, drop it and check these gears on the back. Or if you're noticing that your machine is binding up, commonly it's going to be these gears and the large bevel gear that sits here in the center that's actually driving, because this just being pushed in and out for your forward and reverse for your feeds, and also on the older regals, your lead screw where you've got to lock in that gear up by the gearbox. So it's just going to help keep everything in time and things to look out for. Now, you can just buy the gears. You don't have to buy the tube every time. And I've got it marked here. So see this mark here. So there's going to be straight pins, one on each side, and over on this end is two. I just don't have it marked. So you don't have to buy the tube every time, because all you got to do because you're not going to be able to line them holes back up. So what you got to do, just turn the tube a bit, because you've got plenty of meat still on this side to get that in there. So you can use this tube twice, as long as it's not terribly damaged. And what you're driving through there, it's kind of hard to see, but these straight pins. And if it's your first time dealing with them, if you're just kind of like a hobbyist, you're like, hey, how do I get them pins out? And I'll tell you, the first time I messed with one, I was going to drill, tap it, and pull it out. I didn't realize, I could just drive it straight through. So yeah, so all you got to do, so that hole's going to go all the way through the tube and the gear, and they're just kind of locked in that way. So all you got to do is get you a punch and just punch them on through and knock them right inside the tube, and just get them out later. But it is good rule of thumb, you don't want to reuse the pins again, because, those are sized to a certain size, and they may, get a little bit damaged or undersized when you knock them out. So, and they're very inexpensive just to go ahead and replace. That way you just have everything covered. And like I said, also the bevel gear that goes inside the apron, you're going to want to go ahead and replace that too. I mean, there's no sense putting two new gears and leaving that one, because that bevel gear is also going to have the mash teeth. That's going to, cause you issues or throw the timing off on the gearing inside the apron as well. So this will help just keep your feeds all in time and everything looking good, and your machine running the way it should. So yeah, that's pretty much it with that. If you guys ever have any questions, you guys reach out, call, or if you have any comments, on it, just let us know. Reach out anytime.
Yeah, and we are getting a few comments coming in now. Jake is asking about our precision high-speed lineup versus our precision high-speed heavy-duty lineup, and that's a great question. We get that pretty frequently. So the precision high-speed heavy-duty lineup, which consists of the 1600, 1800, and 2000, those are heavier than the precision high-speed lineup, heavier machines. For instance, we'll looking at the 1500, which is a part of the precision high-speed lineup, and looking at the 1600, which is part of the precision high-speed heavy-duty lineup. The 16 and 15, they feature the same swing over bed, swing over cross. Where they're going to differ is your bed width. Your bed width on the precision high-speed heavy-duty lineup, all those machines are 12.5 inches. The 16 features a 10 horsepower motor, whereas the 15 features a 7.5. The 18 and the 2000 actually feature a 12.5 horsepower motor, so even more of a step up in those two models. And then the 16, 18, and 2000 all feature a 3-inch bore, and they all feature a D18 spindle nose, whereas the precision high-speed lineup has a D16, all four, 13, 15, 17, and 19. So that's just a few differences. If you want to learn more about those differences, you can give us a call. You can go online to LeBlondUSA.com and kind of look at those. We have another question from Larry. He is asking about depth of cut when he's threading. So I'll let Chris take that one. Chris?
Hey guys, so yeah, so like I said, we're not machinists here. We're the mechanics, and here to help you out. But with thread cutting, and what I've learned, over the years, working with some guys, I started out on a Bridgeport mill before I came here to LeBlond, and then they wound up purchasing a lathe and got to tinkering a little bit. And one thing the old man had that we were using was a thread gauge. just like this one here. And it's double-sided, has many, many threads for you to choose from. And it is just a good tool to, to get you started, cutting threads. And what you're going to do, I'll pull one that's fairly large so you can see it a little bit easier. So here, say you're cutting this. This is a 5.5. Say you're cutting that thread. You're going to keep taking your passes, and then each pass, take your thread gauge and put it in between the threads. Make sure it's all lining up perfect. And when you finally get to the point where you put this on there and you don't see any light to the other side, you are deep enough. That's going to let you know the depth of that. These are fairly inexpensive. You can pick them up, through MSC, Granger, McMaster-Carr, and it's just a great thing to have in your toolbox. Just to keep double checking. I think even master machinists, still keep them, or have them in their box, to help them out, in times of trouble, so it's just a great way to go.
Yeah. And looks like we got another one coming in. John is asking if we offer all the machines that we've discussed today in the precision high speed lineup and the precision high speed heavy duty lineup and electronic variable speed. Yes, we do. So we offer all those machines in an electronic variable speed or a geared head model. The EVS is going to have, depending on the size, it's either going to have 2 or 3 speed ranges. And then the machine is infinitely variable within those given ranges. And the headstock configuration differs slightly. I'll let Chris kind of discuss that between the geared head and the EVS. But one of the pros to the EVS is you're going to get a better surface finish because you can really dial that machine in. But you are going to lose a little torque output on the spindle. So the geared head's going to get you more torque output, but the EVS can get you a better surface finish. Chris, you want to talk about the difference a little between the headstocks?
Yeah, so with your gear head, you're going to have 2 levers lining all the gears to get your speeds, and that's going to all kind of be on a solid shaft, which is going to help you get better cutting torque. Whereas versus with the so you can take heavier cuts, I should say. With the EVS, there's only going to be one shaft in there. Your low, medium, and high, or if it's the 13. The 13 series, 1500 series, you're just going to have 2 speed range. So there's just going to be 2 gears in there that are driving. And so that kind of cuts down on your torque a bit. But like, Logan said, you can get higher speeds or you can dial in speeds for that better surface finish. Something to watch out for, if you do have the EVS or you're looking into it, something to think about. If you're used to running, the LeBlonds with the servo shift, when it shifts gears, it's going to rock back and forth to line them gears up so everything shifts smooth. Well, with the EVS, you don't have that. So what a common thing that we do see with that is the operator may just grab that lever and just rack it. And he's going to wind up knocking, 2 of them teeth or 3 of them teeth, with the other gears that's lining up with, and put a little nick. And you're going to hear possibly a tick, 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 tick every time. It's a quick, easy fix. All you got to do is take the head cover off, stone that down, and just try to remember, be easy. Okay. The easier you're on your equipment, the longer it's going to last you and the better it's going to perform for you. Or taking, get a hold of the chuck itself and just kind of move it back and forth and put those in gears. Don't just grab it and slam it. But it's, like I said, you'll lose a bit of cutting torque. And there is going to be also, with drive frequencies, there's also there's always going to be, 2 spots in those frequencies where you're going to get a little bit of vibration, called like radio noise or static. And so you just got to make sure, you figure out what those ranges are when you get the machine, and just try, stay out of those kind of ranges if you can, just to kind of help that. Then it's been that way, from the beginning of time. Even with your VFDs, there's going to be some kind of radio frequency. We do our best to try to cut it down. With the gearhead's going to be kind of more of your production style machine, every day cutting, whereas the EVS is going to be more of a finishing style machine. So that's really kind of the differences of them. And it's not to say you can't, do finishes on the gearhead. You certainly can. But with like certain types of metals, I know you need a lot higher speeds to get that great finish. And that's where the EVS is going to come in very handy for you. So keep that in mind, or, reach out to us, and if you're thinking about a new lathe, and we can go through all that stuff with you and talk to you about it. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so we'd like to thank everyone for tuning in to episode 3. If you'd like to learn more about the LeBlond lathes, you can go to the website listed at the bottom of the screen there. Tune in, and we will be back in a couple of Fridays for the next episode. If there's any topics you guys want us to cover, any lessons, give us a call, shoot us a email, whatever works out for you. We are more than happy to cover anything you guys might have questions on. Chris, you got anything else?
No, I just want to thank you all. Yeah, and like Logan said, any topics you guys want to talk about, or you might have questions about, don't hesitate to ask. That's what we're here for, and we're here to help out. And maybe you guys don't know, we cover more than just lathes now. We've got surface grinders, drill presses, band saws. If you want to learn about any of that and want us to talk about any of that stuff, the Kaoli line surface grinders, and maybe some of the things on, maybe if you have an old Kaoli surface grinder as well that you're having issues with, we can you certainly talk about that stuff as well. And we will in the future, definitely. But yeah, so thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Yep. Thanks, guys.